Welcome to Crown TV. Immerse yourself with a captivating audio from our stories. We provide an alternative way to read books in audio. We upload many audiobooks as possible, from bestsellers to timeless classic. Subscribe and stay tuned for new upload.
Episode 31. Why was she let go? Everyone in the hall was dumbstruck when Manager Woodsworth agreed with Alex. Did he think that his reasoning made sense? And that it was better that Rose had broken the statue because certain patrons might object to its origins? As manager of the Berkeley Hotel, Sam Woodsworth naturally had a strongly honed intuition. He could tell Alex was protecting Rose, so he played along with him and pretended to agree. "Thank you for bringing that to my attention. You've prevented what could have become a great problem for our hotel." "Then do you still want Rose to pay for the damages?" Alex asked deliberately. "Of course not. It's not necessary. I should be thanking this young lady," Sam said as he smiled and turned to look at Rose. "Miss, please forgive my rudeness just now. Thank you for helping our hotel avoid a loss. On behalf of the hotel, how about I give you a reward of $10,000? Sam thought, does Mr. Ambrose like this girl? Because I might have caused a big problem earlier by offending her. The other people's jaws dropped. Rose had broken a $1 million statue. But Sam didn't want to pursue the matter anymore. He even wanted to give her money. What kind of logic was that? They couldn't understand it at all. Rose, of course, didn't want to ask for money. She could only stare blankly in disbelief. "There's no need to pay her. I think this lady doesn't care about the money. All right, it's getting late. Now that the matter's been resolved, let's go back to sleep," Alex said as he smiled. After he finished speaking, the crowd started to disperse. Before Alex left, he lightly patted Sam's shoulder and smiled at him. This made Sam happy. He had been worried that he hadn't handled things well enough, but he was very satisfied now to see that Mr. Ambrose wasn't angry. Rose grabbed her clothes from the room she had been planning on sharing with Zane and moved in with Susan, while Joe went to get another room for himself. "Rose, if it hadn't been for Alex today, you would be in big trouble," Susan said. She and Rose were lying on the bed. Rose still had a lingering fear in her heart as she hugged Susan tightly. "It's so strange. A pretty girl like you begged Manager Woodsworth for so long, yet he refused to reason with you. Then Alex came over, said a few words, and everything was suddenly resolved," Susan pondered. "It's over $1 million. Do you think Alex knows Manager Woodsworth?" "How could he possibly know him? It's not like you don't know Alex's background. I think it might be that Manager Woodsworth is superstitious," Rose said. "My dad's a businessman, and he's superstitious in everything he does. I think Alex's words fooled Mr. Woodsworth and made him feel afraid because of his superstitions. Today's matter has nothing to do with Alex, really," she added. "No matter what, he helped you today, so don't treat him so badly in the future," Susan replied, as she didn't believe Rose's words. There was a huge flaw in Rose's reasoning. Even she wasn't fooled by Alex, so how could he deceive Manager Woodsworth, she thought. "Let's talk about it later. He just got lucky this time," Rose said, while she still thought poorly of Alex. The next day, Rose and Susan woke up early and got ready to go out and buy her aunt some towels. As Sam was walking in the corridor, a pair of playful young men hit a clock that was mounted on the wall, which caused all the clock's parts to fall out. The staff quickly called Sam over. Seeing the clock on the floor, Sam's heart almost broke. "Did you do this?" he asked them angrily. "Do you know that I spent over $150,000 to buy this antique clock from abroad?" Sam's staff brought the receipt, which he showed to the young men. Once they saw it, their uneasiness disappeared instantly. One of the men took the document, held it up in his hand, and said, "Manager Woodsworth, I must say I smashed your clock today." Both of them had witnessed yesterday's scene with Alex and Rose, and they thought Sam would fall for the same trick. One of them said, I can see on the receipt that you bought this clock in Russia, and it was made by a master clockmaker in the 19th century. Do you know that many of your customers might object to this Russian-made object in your hotel?" He was using the same argument that Alex had made the day before, and ended proudly with, "You see, I helped your hotel avoid a loss. You can offer me money, too." The young men thought they had gotten away with breaking the clock, but Sam roared. "You dare to ask me for money? Yesterday I was helping Mr. Ambrose. Who do you think you are to treat me like a fool? Now you need to pay me twice the price. Otherwise, don't even think of walking out the door." "Hey, how dare you threaten me? Do you know who I am?" The youth pointed at Sam and said arrogantly, "My dad is one of the heads of the Golden Group. He's 10 times richer than you, and he's related to very important people." "Oh," Sam said contemptuously. "I'll say it again. If you don't pay me twice the price, don't even think about leaving here today. Let's see how awesome your dad is." "Okay, since you want to die, then let me help you. Even if you kneel on the ground and bow to me later, it won't be of any use." After the young man said those harsh words, he took out his phone and called his father. "Hey, Dad, I got caught breaking a clock at the hotel. The manager wants me to pay him double what it cost him, and he wouldn't even listen to who you are." "Damn, I think he doesn't want to live anymore. Son, tell me, what's his name? I'll rush over right now," the young man's father exclaimed. "His name is Sam. He's at the Berkeley Hotel right now," the young man said while turning to sneer at Sam. "Who did you say? Sam from Berkeley?" asked the young man's father. "What's the matter, Dad?" the young man asked in surprise, wondering why his father sounded so panicked. "You idiot! Who told you to provoke Mr. Woodsworth? Apologize to him now," his father demanded. "Dad, what's wrong with you? He wants twice as much money from me to compensate for the clock. This is a scam." The young man was about to die from anger. "Pay. Even if it's 10 times more, you still have to pay him for it. It's your bad luck to say something to make Mr. Woodsworth angry. Now, no matter what, you must ask Mr. Woodsworth to forgive you, or you don't need to come back," demanded his father. The youth was no fool. He was not someone who could afford to offend a man that even his father was afraid of. "Mr. Woodsworth, I'm sorry. I was in the wrong, and I apologize. Didn't you say that I should compensate you with twice the amount? All right, I will pay," the young man said solemnly as he bowed and walked in front of Sam. He was as humble as could be. "Don't embarrass yourself here. Go scram to the first floor and pay up, then leave," Sam commanded. Sam's insulting words sounded like heavenly music to the young man. He nodded and quickly left the corridor with his friend. The crowd gradually dispersed as well. Only then did Sam notice that Rose and Susan were also there. He cursed silently before greeting them. "Miss Scott, Miss Ogden, both of you are here too?" he said. Rose and Susan were both stunned by what they had just seen. The young man did the same thing they had done yesterday. But the clock he had broken was worth far less than the statue that Rose had smashed that was worth over $1 million. He had said that his dad was a leader of the Golden Group and that he was connected to the management. Even with such a prestigious background, the man had been terrified of Sam. What kind of person was Sam? And what was the real reason for his letting Rose go yesterday? "Manager Woodsworth, what's going on?" Alex walked over while stretching his back. "Ah," Sam was a little tongue-tied. If he described what had just happened, wouldn't that give away that he had been acting with Alex yesterday? Mr. Ambrose didn't want Miss Scott and the others to know, thought Sam. "After listening to what you said yesterday, I've reflected deeply and decided to get rid of all the beautiful things." Sam lied because he couldn't let Alex be exposed in front of Rose. At the most, he could just apologize to him in private. Rose and Susan were stunned again when Sam said this, especially Rose. She wanted to convince herself that, regardless of the facts, his actions had nothing to do with Alex. And now, Sam was lying and helping him. Rose stared at Alex with her eyes wide open. No matter how hard she tried, She couldn't figure out what was going on. After this little episode, Rose and Susan quickly left to do their shopping. Rose, you saw Manager Woodsworth's attitude just now. He doesn't care about patrons objecting to Russian objects. He let us go yesterday, not because of Alex's words. I think he must know him, Susan said as they walked down the street. It seems that way now, but I can't believe it. You know how poor Alex is, Rose said as she frowned. Right now we're still not sure. We should watch him carefully from now on. If he's hiding something, he'll expose it. Okay, but when you see him later, you should just say thank you, Susan advised. Returning to the hotel, they found that Alex and Joe had already booked a car and were ready to go back to the university. As for Zane, he had snuck away alone some time ago. In the car, Rose wanted to thank Alex, but he wouldn't even look at her. Plus, she had never been nice to Alex before. When they got out of the car, Rose's thank you again got stuck in her throat. Joe, you go back with Susan first. I have something to do, Alex said, as he couldn't wait to find Debbie and take her to see the villa. Rose, Susan whispered, winking at her. Only then did Rose muster up a bit of courage. Alex, Rose shouted. What's wrong? Alex looked at her in confusion. What happened yesterday. Thank you, she stammered. It's nothing. You guys go back first. I'm leaving, Alex said quickly as he ran off. Rose looked at Alex's back as he walked away and felt left out. She was a rich girl and talked to Alex, a poor student, but he didn't seem to care at all. He didn't stop to acknowledge her apology. Episode 32. Debbie Meets Kathy. Alex called Debbie and asked where she was. He quickly rushed over. He found her in an alley near the university. She was holding a small notebook and recording something. What are you writing? Alex walked over and took the book from Debbie's hands. With a glance, he saw that there were more than 10 lines about rent written on it. 1 room in Jones Street, $500 per month. Water and electricity bills not included. It's the same at number 14 with the courtyard in the alleyway. $500 per month, he read aloud. If I use an agency, it'll cost me an extra month's rent. I don't have that much money, so I'm doing my search since I haven't got anything else to do today. The apartments near the school are too expensive for me. I haven't found anything suitable yet, but I'm going to continue looking, Debbie said. Seeing her serious expression, Alex was tempted by her once again. Keep in mind that you can't trust the information in these small ads. Maybe you should find an agent anyway, Alex said as he covered Debbie's notebook with his hand. I don't know what to do. Debbie was momentarily at a loss. In Alex's eyes, that silly expression of hers was really cute, and he couldn't help but pinch her face gently. She lowered her head and blushed slightly. Relax. I already found a room for you yesterday. The price is pretty cheap. It's near the Green Island Garden. Let's take a taxi over there, he said. Really? Debbie's heart was filled with sweetness. She was surprised that it would be near the Green Island Garden, which was New York's most high-end residential area. How could the houses nearby be cheap? It's not far. Let's go, he said. But Debbie stopped him when she saw that he was about to wave for a taxi. She knew that Alex wasn't rich and didn't want to let him spend the money. All right, let's walk over, Alex said, as he still didn't want Debbie to know he was rich. Ouch, she cried as soon as they had taken a few steps. Maybe I walked too much today. It doesn't matter, just give me 5 minutes to rest. Debbie had left school at 6 o'clock that morning so she could find her room. She had been walking for almost 4 hours, so naturally her legs hurt. Alex pursed his lips, feeling a special pain in his heart. This silly girl, how much suffering can she endure? He thought. I'll carry you, he said. He squatted down in front of her and patted his shoulder for her to hop on so he could carry her on his back. Leaning on Alex's sturdy back, she felt very at ease. Alex's hands wrapped around Debbie's thighs. At first he didn't feel anything, but later he focused his attention on that soft touch. Her body is so light, maybe less than 100 pounds. My hand is now touching her leg. It's so soft. Oh, Alex, why are you thinking like this? If Debbie knew, what would she think of you? He thought. He chased the complicated thoughts out of his mind and quickly walked on with Debbie on his back. When they arrived at the Green Island Garden District, Debbie had fallen asleep on Alex's back because she was so tired. He gently carried her into a bedroom in the $1 million villa, where he put her on the soft bed. She looked so serene and beautiful in her sleep. Her white face, pink cherry lips, and slim figure were so attractive. He sat beside her and silently watched her with great enjoyment. An hour later, Debbie woke up. She saw Alex smiling at her, and her heart jumped. Then she noticed the room she was in. The spaciousness, the brown wooden door, the gilded chandelier, the huge French windows. Debbie had never seen such a luxurious room. "Where are we?" she asked as she sat up with her heart pounding. "Don't be afraid. This is the room I told you about. You don't have to worry about the rent. This is my friend's house. He's not at home these days, so you can stay here," Alex quickly explained to her. "Is that a good idea?" Debbie whispered, but in her heart she liked it there. "What's wrong with it?" Alex smiled brightly. He didn't give her a chance to refuse and began to show her around the house. "Do you like it here?" he asked. "Yes," Debbie replied, nodding with embarrassment. "It's good that you like it," Alex said and patted Debbie's head. "I'll bring you to another place now." "Where to?" she asked. "Come with me and I'll show you," Alex said as he pulled her out of the villa. They grabbed a taxi and headed straight for Letty, the fashion shopping mall. "Let's go somewhere else," Debbie said as she thought Alex was going to buy something for her. She knew that this was the most expensive shopping mall in New York. It wasn't something he could afford. "Just follow me," he said as he smiled and pulled her into the mall. As a billionaire, what was there to be afraid of? Plus, Lucy Smith had recently given him a woman's clothing store. Don't even mention Autumn Beauty Boutique, thought Debbie. She would usually buy clothes second-hand, but she was feeling especially nervous as she pulled on Alex's arm and carefully walked towards the boutique. The boutique's manager, Russell, saw a young man and woman enter through the door and frowned slightly. The couple was dressed very poorly, and it was obvious they did not qualify as customers. Russell walked up to the young man and woman, preparing to tactfully tell them that this was not the right place for them, and hint that they should hurry up and leave. "Hello, we have clothes that range in price from $100 to over $1,500. Perhaps this store isn't in your budget." Russell politely stated the price of his boutique's clothing, hoping they would back off. However, the more he looked at the young man, the more familiar he seemed to be. Finally, he remembered. "It's you." Russell recognized Alex, the man that Lucy had brought with her a few days ago. Lucy had told him that the owner of this boutique would be Alex from now on. Russell was stopped from saying more by Alex's gaze. Hearing the manager's words, Debbie was truly frightened. She tried to pull Alex away and leave that expensive boutique, but he didn't move. He only looked at her calmly. "It's fine, I have money." Then he whispered into her ear, "It would be embarrassing to walk out now, so don't be afraid. Let's buy the cheapest thing, and then we can go." To support Alex, Debbie listened to him. However, she still felt very uneasy in her heart. Alex put her hand on his arm and started strolling around the boutique. The Autumn Beauty Boutique consisted of high-end, fashionable ladies' clothing. Debbie's eyes were blurry, just like Cinderella's when she saw her crystal shoes. She especially liked the clothes there. "Help her try on this piece," Alex said to Russell, who had been following them, as he saw the look of desire in Debbie's eyes when she spotted a pink dress. "No need to take it, it's not good," Debbie said quickly. It was not that she didn't like it, but it was because the price was too expensive. It was over $300, which was something she couldn't even imagine. "Let's try this," A light orange dress that looks like something an ancient Athenian goddess would wear. It'll look really good on you, Alex said, but she rejected it with embarrassment. I'd rather not wear it. I don't like that style, she whispered. Alex consecutively selected a few sets of clothes for Debbie. She had already used all sorts of reasons to reject them, so how could he not understand her intentions? He could only sigh, thinking that this girl was too simple. Russell, who stood to the side, felt it was strange. He had thought that Alex was a pretty boy that Lucy Smith kept. Now it seemed that this wasn't the case, which improved his impression of Alex a little. However, the new boss's girlfriend was too incomprehensible. It was expensive, and this was still Alex's store, but she didn't even want to buy a single piece of clothing. If this girl wasn't faking it, then she was a rare good one. This one should be fine. It's not expensive, so just try it, Alex said and pointed at a pure white dress. Okay, I'll try it, she said nervously, having her thoughts exposed by Alex. This dress was already the cheapest in the store at $150, so she decided to try it on. Alex was especially happy to hear her finally agree. He held the clothes and walked toward the fitting room. Then the fitting room door in front of Debbie opened. Alex, why are you here? Exclaimed the pretty girl who was Alex's ex-girlfriend, Kathy Fairweather. She looked at Alex in confusion and then noticed Debbie. Her eyes instantly became sharp. Who is she? Did you buy her those clothes? No matter what, Kathy would never have thought that she would meet Alex here. When she was with him in the past, he would at most take her to an expensive card shop. Auta Beauty Boutique was the most expensive boutique brand. She's my friend. I bought her here to buy clothes, Alex muttered as he was also very shocked to see Kathy, but he quickly calmed down. Friend? I think you're treating her like she was your girlfriend, right? Kathy snorted coldly and said in a shocked manner. You scum. When did you bring me to such a high-end place? You never wanted to spend money on me. How many days did she follow you around for this? Are you going to go bankrupt to buy things for this little vixen? Kathy had gotten used to Alex being nice to her alone. Even though they had broken up almost a month ago, he still hadn't said a single harsh word to her when she saw him, especially when they had met at the library. She had easily tricked Alex and dumped him, but she still felt that she could hold an important position in his heart. She simply couldn't accept Alex being so good to another girl. However, her words made Debbie think. So, he already had a girlfriend, Debbie thought as a wave of disappointment ran through her body and bitterness shook her heart. Episode 33, I'll Compete With You. You're mistaken. I'm not Alex's girlfriend, Debbie forced herself to say to Kathy with a smile. She grabbed Alex's arm and walked towards the door without saying a word. One of Russell's assistants had been watching the exchange. Is this new boss cheating on his girlfriend? He must be very irresponsible. That little girl Debbie is so kind. He must have tricked her into thinking he was single. He deserved to be caught today, the assistant thought. Russell, meanwhile, didn't know what to think. Debbie, listen to me. Alex looked at Debbie. He wanted to tell her that Kathy had already broken up with him. Don't say any more, Alex. Thank you for taking care of me these past few days. I'm very sorry for causing such a misunderstanding. You should go back to your girlfriend, Debbie said with a trace of resentment. Since you have a girlfriend, why are you being so nice to me? Could it be that you don't know the meaning behind why I kept coming to Ramsey Lake to find you every day? She thought. Ha, you little slut. Aren't you thinking too much? How could I possibly be this loser's girlfriend? Kathy said as she walked over with a smile. She glanced at Alex with disdain. Look at him. What part of him is worthy enough for me? He is rather compatible with you. She's not Alex's girlfriend, Debbie suddenly realized. A wave of excitement rose in her heart, and she felt as if she had just recovered from a loss. I knew Alex wouldn't lie to me, Debbie thought, as her eyes lit up again as she looked over at him. Russell was also relieved. Luckily, this new boss isn't playing two sides and cheating on his steady girlfriend. Otherwise, I would have despised him, he thought. At the same time, he was extremely dissatisfied with Kathy. Is this crazy woman intentionally causing trouble for him? She's not his girlfriend. Alex is a free man, so why is she pointing fingers at him? Kathy, have you chosen your clothes? At this time, a young man walked in with 2 bottles in his hands. He was tall and thin and with his hair slicked back with gel. He looked very hard. If he wasn't Billy Wilde, who else could he be? When Billy saw Alex, his face showed anger. You brat, you're asking for a beating, aren't you? Are you here to harass Kathy again? He spoke with an overbearing attitude, as if Alex was someone he could bully. Dearest, I asked you to buy a bottle of water. You've been gone for so long. Kathy ran over to Billy and wrapped her arms around his waist. She then looked at Debbie and boasted, This is my boyfriend. He's rich, tall, and handsome. He's not someone that loser can compare himself to. Alex didn't come to harass me today, she said to Billy. He's here to buy clothes for his girlfriend. Oh my, look at that girl's tattered clothes. She suits him. Billy patted Kathy's butt and she smiled playfully. Debbie, quickly go in and see if this fits you or not, Alex said in a low voice. He didn't feel like arguing with the other two. That dress is really beautiful. Let me try it on. Kathy grabbed the dress from Debbie's hands and looked at her. For a woman like you who has no money, it's better to find something more suitable for you to wear. There are dozens of dollar stores and second-hand shops in the city that are more suitable for you. After saying that, she took the dress into the changing room. A few minutes later, she walked out wearing it and proudly showed it off in front of Debbie and Alex. This dress is not bad. It's perfect for me to wear. Some people would ruin this dress. Alex looked at Kathy as if she was crazy, unwilling to pay any attention to her. Let's go over there and take a look, he said to Debbie as they went to the other side. Kathy, since you've already chosen your clothes, let's go, Billy said to Kathy. He had taken her there that day so he could buy her a piece of clothing. The Autumn Beauty Boutique was a high-end ladies' clothing store, so he didn't dare to spend freely there. Go? What a joke! I haven't bought enough yet. Kathy didn't want to leave. As Alex had taken Debbie there to buy clothes, she had to buy more than him. Kathy was really out of balance at the moment. When she abandoned Alex, she thought he had no money. If she didn't buy more clothes in front of Alex and prove that she was better off than when she was with him, he would underestimate her. No, I must not let Alex laugh at me. I must buy more clothes than him, she thought. While Kathy was still thinking, Alex had already chosen a dress with Debbie. He was waiting for her at the door of the changing room. Kathy held Billy's arm and walked toward Alex. When they were almost there, the door to the changing room opened. Debbie gracefully walked out in a beige and white dress. Kathy stopped in her tracks with her eyes wide open as she looked at her. Was this the ugly duckling girl from before? How is it? Debbie asked nervously. It's so beautiful. Alex's eyes lit up as he replied gleefully. You're lying to me, Debbie whispered. She was a little embarrassed by Alex's words, but she was secretly happy inside. At that moment, Alex held Debbie's shoulder firmly. He turned her slightly, and her beautiful figure appeared in the mirror. The dress covered her slender body gracefully, setting off her fair face and pink lips. She looked exceptionally beautiful. When Debbie saw her reflection, she was stunned. The person in the mirror was like a fairy. Is this me? She thought. All right, help us wrap this dress up. Alex was very satisfied with that piece of clothing. From Debbie's expression, he knew that she also liked it. Russell obediently packed up Debbie's dress, then used Alex's card to charge for it. Although Russell didn't know why Alex needed to spend money in his boutique, he could tell that it must be related to Debbie. Since he was willing to do so much for her, it seemed that he was a good man. Alex wanted to pick out more clothes for Debbie, but she refused to continue shopping. That dress already cost $250, and none of the items were cheap. She didn't want him to spend money carelessly. Since you don't want to shop more, let's go. We'll come back here again, Alex said to her with a smile. Can wear this for a long time, Debbie said softly, and the two of them started to move toward the exit. Stop! You want to leave now? Kathy angrily walked up to Alex. Now that she and Debbie had both bought a dress, it didn't look like Kathy was any better off than Alex, and Debbie, who was wearing the new dress, had shocked her. She didn't want to admit it, but she did think that Debbie was even more beautiful than she was. This caused Kathy to be so furious that she almost went crazy. If she didn't try to get back at him, she would die of depression that day. Alex ignored Kathy and tried to avoid her, but she was having none of it. When Alex moved to the left, Kathy moved to the left to block his path. When Alex moved to the right, Kathy moved to the right. What do you want? Alex looked at Kathy speechlessly. Didn't you bring this country bumpkin here to act cool? Now I want you to compete with me. Let's see if it's you who buys more clothes or if it's my boyfriend who buys more. Kathy had decided to humiliate him. Debbie pulled him by the hand and shook her head with a worried expression. The clothes here were too expensive, and it was a meaningless matter in itself. All right, I'll compete with you, Alex said as he gave Debbie a reassuring look and then looked toward Kathy and agreed. From Kathy's attitude, it seemed that she wasn't going to let him leave if he didn't agree. Ha ha, my dear, you think Alex has a screw loose? He's going to compete with us? He doesn't know his place, Kathy laughed arrogantly. Billy was not that happy. A shopping contest in Autumn Beauty Boutique? Is he crazy? The clothes here are several times more expensive than in other places, he thought. However, since Kathy had already started this, Billy didn't want to cross her. He thought that he might still win if he competed with Alex. Alex, I don't know if I should praise your intelligence or your balls. Later, I'll let you know how big the gap is between you and me, Billy sneered. Debbie was extremely scared. Alex and Russell, on the other hand, were laughing themselves to death. Are these two nuts? This shop is all mine. Who are you going to buy more clothes from? Me? Interesting, thought Alex. Of course, Alex wouldn't reveal his identity. He didn't want anyone to know who he was, especially Debbie. Kathy looked at him with disdain. I know you only have a bit of money left from what you won in the lottery after you stupidly made that huge donation to the Mountain Village children. I can't wait to see what money you're going to use to compete with me today. After she finished speaking, she casually pointed at a pleated skirt and said, Help me wrap that up. Is that all right, sir? Russell questioned Billy intentionally. He could tell that Kathy had no money of her own, so the decision was entirely in Billy's hands. Billy also felt pained by the price of the $200 pleated skirt, but he had to buy it since he had already said so earlier. He pretended not to care as he said, It's only $200. It's only my meal money. Alex, do you have something to say? Episode 34. Who wins? That white t-shirt, Alex pointed casually. Kathy turned to look where Alex was pointing, and saw that the white t-shirt that he had chosen was $50 more expensive than the one she had picked out. She became even angrier. Pack up that pair of $300 ripped jeans for me. Alex could buy one more thing and admit his defeat, but he thought of the ridicule he would receive from Billy and Kathy, and he also wanted to use that opportunity to play with them. Help me wrap up those slacks, Alex calmly told Russell. That pair of slacks was $15 more than Kathy's jeans. Kathy was so angry that her breathing became heavy as she said, That pink, long-sleeve top, wrap it up. I'll take that long skirt, Alex said. Wrap up that silk blouse, Kathy commanded and continued to demand more items. Wrap up that green suit. That crimson undergarment, wrap it up. The two of them went back and forth. They each bought 6 or 7 pieces of clothing. Kathy was so angry at Alex that her eyes blazed. But Billy was even angrier. Kathy had already bought more than $5,000 worth of clothes, which was far more than he had expected, but he was too embarrassed to stop her. I'm out of money. I admit defeat, Alex finally announced. Billy let out a sigh of relief. If Alex had continued to compete with Kathy, he definitely wouldn't have been able to stop her. "Ha ha, you can't take it anymore. I told you, Alex, you're not a rich person. So how can you compare to a legitimately rich guy like my boyfriend? You're out of money, right?" Kathy said proudly. "Yes, I can't compare to him," Alex said lightly to Kathy. He felt that she was acting like a resentful wife. "Don't think you're so awesome just because you won the lottery once. In front of me, you'll always be scum. Do you understand?" Billy arrogantly gestured at Alex with his index finger. He then looked at Russell and said, "We've spent tons of money here today. Even though this is a high-end store, you guys don't have many customers, right? Your boss sure is something. After buying so many things, he still hasn't come out to meet us." Russell glanced at Alex and saw him subtly shake his head. He smiled apologetically at Billy and said, "My boss is not here today, I'm sorry." Billy had wanted the opportunity to get to know the store owner. To be able to open such a big and prestigious store, he must be quite influential. Now that his hopes had failed, he felt a sense of loss. With their arms full of bags, he and Kathy walked out the door. Debbie had initially felt bad because Alex had bought so many clothes for her. But when Alex and Russell told her that she could return the items that she didn't want, Debbie was overjoyed. She only kept one piece of clothing and the rest was returned. Alex could only smile bitterly to himself. If he had known this earlier, he wouldn't have said she could return her clothes. He told Debbie to go to the changing room and to change her clothes. Russell gave Alex a thumbs up and said, "Boss, your marketing skills are really brilliant. Today these two customers spent more money than we earned all week." Alex was embarrassed by his words. He had been forced to compete with Kathy, but in Russell's eyes it had become a marketing tactic. "Give them an 8% discount next time they come in," Alex said. Now that he thought about it, he felt as if he had conned Kathy and Billy out of $5,000, which didn't seem very kind. "Why? Although they bought a lot, I can see they're not big spenders. I noticed that by the time the young lady had bought the 7th piece of clothing, the boy's forehead was covered in sweat and his face was turning green. There's no need to waste resources on them." As a manager, Russell was only looking out for the benefit of the boutique. "Just do as I ask," Alex said. "All right." Russell had no choice but to agree. His interest was piqued again. "So why didn't you tell your girlfriend that you're the owner of this boutique?" "Nonsense," Alex reprimanded him. He was getting along well with Debbie now, and he didn't want to break this state. When the time was right, Alex would reveal his identity to her. By this time, Debbie had already changed into her new set of clothes and walked out. She was wearing a beige and white dress. It was pure and elegant, complementing her white and delicate features. She was a perfect beauty. "Beautiful young lady, may I have the honor of inviting you to dance with me?" Alex held his head high and puffed out his chest. He reached out his hand to Debbie. Debbie was stunned for a moment before giving a faint smile. She handed her soft hand to him and whispered, "I'll let you try." At this moment, Debbie felt like a lady at a ball. This feeling was something no one else had ever given to her before. She felt more favorable toward Alex. Holding her hand, Alex didn't move to dance, but instead, he jogged happily out of the Autumn Beauty Boutique. Russell fell into a daze, smiled and muttered, "What an enviable pair." Alex wanted to take a taxi back to school, but Debbie said it was fine to go by bus. On the bus, the two of them sat in the last row. Alex held Debbie's hand the whole time as the wind blew her hair onto her face. He hoped that this would be a bus ride that would never end. After getting off the bus, Alex was about to discuss with Debbie when they should move into the villa. At that moment, Mark Stevens called, so Alex found a way to avoid Debbie and picked up the call. Mark called this time to ask Alex to go to the school's Tree Flower restaurant for an event. Alex wasn't interested if the school had organized, so he told Mark that he didn't want to participate. "No, sir, this is also a test from the family. If you don't participate, there will be no results this time, and the consequences will be severe," Mark advised sincerely. "Didn't I already pass the family's test?" Alex said anxiously. "Yes, you passed that one, but there will be more. To spur you on, the family will keep evaluating you. If your grades are poor, there will still be appropriate punishments. You must not let your guard down, Mark solemnly said. All right, I'll go participate now, Alex said gloomily. His family was really thorough. Even after 7 years of the poverty training program, it still wasn't enough. What kind of trick was this? Were they deliberately making him feel uncomfortable? Alex complained to himself, although he understood the way the family did things. As one of the top families in the world, how could it be so easy to be one of their descendants? Otherwise, their family wouldn't have been able to last for hundreds of years without decline. Debbie, I'll take you to the Tree Flower Restaurant, Alex gently said to her, as he didn't want to be separated from her for even a second now. Since Debbie was dressed so beautifully, Alex also wanted to make the others admire her, so that Debbie could have more confidence. Okay, Debbie nodded. She felt happy to be with Alex. The Tree Flower Restaurant was an art building. When it was empty, some small and medium-sized events would be held there. A small stage had been set up in the main hall of the restaurant, and it was surrounded by sound speakers, flower baskets, and ribbons. There were 5 rows of 10 chairs in front of the stage for the arriving guests. Alex and Debbie sat in the last row. There were already a few people around, and from the moment that Debbie walked in, they had already started whispering to each other. This beauty looks a bit better. Is she the daughter of some rich man? Said one. She really looks like a celebrity. What would happen to Jasmine if she took the stage? Said another. What is that loser beside her doing? Why is he walking with that goddess? I really want to beat him up, said yet another. Maybe he's begging from her. That girl looks so kind, she must be embarrassed into giving him money. Let him beg from her and give him a chance to earn some, said another. Debbie was like a shining object in her new clothes. She was attracting everyone's attention as she quietly sat in the last row. Is that? A confused female voice sounded from beside Debbie. When Debbie turned around, the woman's mouth opened wide in shock. Debbie, it's really you. Yep, Donna Walters, you're here too, Debbie greeted her. Donna was from her hometown, and the two of them came together from a small country in the Northeast. You bought this at Autumn Beauty Boutique? Debbie held in her hand the bag with the boutique logo, which she had used to store her original clothes. Debbie had to admit that she didn't have much contact with Donna and didn't understand her personality. She didn't realize that Donna could have a sour personality, so she asked with a smile, What do you think? Debbie was especially happy that day and wanted to share her happiness with her old friend. She spoke a little more than usual. Normally, Debbie would not ask such a question. However, from Donna's point of view, Debbie's words sounded like she was showing off to her. In her heart, she was even more dissatisfied with Debbie. This girl, wearing the clothes that she had bought from Autumn Beauty Boutique, was showing it off. If it wasn't for being from her hometown, would I even bother to talk to you? Donna thought. You didn't buy it for yourself, did you? Donna asked tentatively. No, it was a friend of mine who bought it for me, Debbie said shyly when she thought of Alex buying clothes for her. This girl looks good in disguise. She's probably trying to use her body to seduce a rich guy, thought Donna, as a trace of contempt flashed in her eyes. Where is he? When are you going to introduce him to me? Donna said with ulterior motives. Autumn Beauty Boutique clothes were at least $150, so this person had a high probability of coming from old money. Donna naturally wanted to get to know him. Ah, you have to meet him. This is him, Debbie said as she glanced at Alex, who was sitting beside her. She felt a little excited, as if she was introducing a boyfriend to a friend. Donna was shocked. Alex had been sitting beside Debbie the whole time, but she never thought that it was Alex who had bought the clothes for her. How could it be him? This person was dressed like a poor man. Could he afford to buy clothes from Autumn Beauty Boutique? Episode 35, Big Donations. While Donna Walters was full of suspicion about Debbie, Debbie introduced her to Alex. Hello, I'm Debbie's friend, Alex, he politely greeted Donna. Hello. Debbie and I are from the same town, Donna said. She didn't like talking to this guy, but she still didn't know his background. If Alex was a rich man, wouldn't she regret ignoring him? "Alex, what does your family do?" Donna asked with a smile. She wanted to get to the bottom of his situation as quickly as possible. Just when Alex was wondering how to reply, an arrogant voice sounded. "Donna, you don't need to talk to him. It'll only waste your time," said a domineering man with a golden chain around his neck. He walked up to Donna and hugged her waist before patting her on the butt. Alex's eyes narrowed when he saw the man. The person who had walked up to Donna was none other than their hedonistic classmate, Darren Rogers. The last time they had been in contact had been in Minnie Jones's live stream room. "Darling, what took you so long? I've been waiting for you," Donna said flirtatiously before looking at Alex. "Darling, do you know this student?" "Of course I know him. He's the one I've always told you about. The poorest person in our class is famous in the entire department," Darren exclaimed. "When he's not studying, he spends the rest of his time either working in the cafeteria or the convenience store. As long as you give him money, he'll keep working, no matter how dirty or smelly he is." Donna couldn't hold back her laughter anymore. She held her stomach and pointed at Alex. "Don't say it. Look at his clothes. They say he was a beggar on the street. I don't doubt that at all." "Donna, you're right. I heard this guy recently begged for money at the city." "A university student who can swallow his pride and ask others for money has no dignity," Darren agreed. "But today he bought a set of clothes for Debbie at Autumn Beauty Boutique. Darling, when the time comes, take me there to buy some as well," Donna said sweetly. "How could a poor loser like him, who only knows how to work, study, and eat, afford to buy clothes at that boutique?" Darren didn't believe it at all, but after seeing that Debbie's hand was indeed holding onto an Autumn Beauty Boutique bag, he said, "This guy doesn't have money at all. If he has enough money to buy clothes at that boutique, then there's only one possibility. He has the wrong kind of money. It has to be stolen. Oh, right, or it might have been him begging in the city for it." "Alex, oh, Alex, you're a fool, aren't you? You can hardly afford to buy food for yourself, and even so you still try to pick up girls," Darren said as he smiled sinisterly. "So that's how it is." Donna realized that her mood had become very cheerful. "Debbie, did you hear what my boyfriend said? He stole all the money he used to buy her clothes. It's not his own money at all. Do you dare accept this kind of man? Perhaps one day, when he gets tired of playing with you, he'll sell you out," Donna said viciously. Although she and Debbie had gone to the same high school, the two of them only got to know each other later. If it weren't for the fact that they were from the same town, Donna wouldn't even bother to look at Debbie. Donna was usually the one who was the center of attention, but that day, Debbie was wearing a dress that was even more impressive than hers. This threw her off, and now that she found the chance, she felt that she must properly ridicule her. Debbie, I know that your family's situation is bad, and I can understand the urgency in your heart if you want to pull your family out of poverty, but this is ridiculous," she exclaimed. Donna continued to say to her, "It's hard for a poor person to work hard and study hard. He always wants to gain wealth by being close to the money. How can this be a good thing?" Donna leaned towards Debbie and advised, "If you don't have money, don't get used to wearing Autumn Beauty Boutique clothes. Just wear the clothes you can afford. That's what suits you. Why are you so conceited? The better your clothes, the more it shows how cheap you are." Debbie had heard even more malicious words in the past few years. If she were alone, she would have completely endured it. But since Donna scolded Alex, Debbie could not accept this. Debbie's face turned red from anger. Normally, she wouldn't scold people, but now she was facing the sharp-tongued Donna. Even if she wanted to retort, she couldn't make a scene, and even if she could say something, she didn't know how to respond. Alex, who was sitting to the side, couldn't stand it anymore. He was about to teach Donna and Darren a lesson when loud music came from the stage. As the lights in the restaurant's main hall came on, the host, who was dressed in formal attire, walked onto the stage and began his opening speech. "Guests, good afternoon, and thank you for coming today. We all know why we're here. It's to celebrate the successful conclusion of our school's donation campaign for the poor mountain village. Of course, We will also pay tribute to the donors today to praise their good deeds. So, this is to recognize the donors, Alex thought to himself. He had casually donated $130,000. That amount of money was nothing to him. After listening to 4 or 5 speeches, it was time for the main event. Next up, we will reward the donors. Let me first report on the status of this donation to everyone. A total of over $300,000 was donated. We have 90 people who donated over $100, 38 people donated over $500, 12 people donated over $1,000, and 5 people donated over $5,000, the host exclaimed. After hearing the host's report, the audience applauded and cheered. Some people donated more than $5,000. Our school is awesome, said one person. I only donated $5. Compared to these rich kids, I'm too far behind, said another. Me too. I had to add up my living expenses before I managed to take out $10. These people are rich, so $5,000 is nothing to them. That's so infuriating, said yet another. Everyone, please calm down. I haven't finished announcing this, said the host. Other than the aforementioned, there is another person who has contributed over $100,000. After the host finished speaking, the entire audience was in an uproar. To them, $20,000 was a huge sum of money, but someone had donated much more than that. Was it a student? Everyone was enthusiastically discussing this person who had donated such a huge amount. They were certain that it must have been a millionaire, and they all wanted to get a good look at him. Darling, how much did you donate? Donna asked Darren sweetly. Not much, just $350, Darren said casually. He hadn't wanted to donate. With that amount of money, he could have taken a girl out on the town. It was only because he had committed a crime in the city and had used the money to protect his life that he had been forced to work or do good deeds. So he had reluctantly donated $350. $350 is not a small amount. You already rank among the top 100 donors, Donna said, and then turned to Debbie and asked her intentionally, Debbie, how much money did you donate? Your family has no money, but I want to see how kind you are. I donated $5, Debbie said with embarrassment. What? Did I hear you right? You just donated $5? You are something. I remember you telling me that after graduating from university, you're going to be a teacher in a poor area. I think you're lying. Otherwise, why would you be willing to donate $5 at this time? This is too hypocritical, Donna mocked her. Debbie felt wronged. She didn't have any spare money, so the $5 that she had donated meant that she had gone without dinner that night. Debbie donated so little, but I think he must have donated it for her, Donna said to Darren with an evil smile. Him? Donna, don't joke with us on purpose, okay? He's the biggest loser in our class and lives off a part-time job. Do you think he can afford to donate anything? Darren said and laughed. Donna licked her lips, looked at Darren and said, Do you think I believe Alex donated? I was deliberately mocking him. You're not going to confess that you didn't donate money? Donna raised her eyebrows and slyly asked Alex. I did, Alex shrugged and said lightly. Oh, how much did you donate? She asked. Alex's donation would be well beyond Donna's expectations. If Alex said how much, Donna would mock him and Debbie because she wouldn't believe it. Not much. Alex wanted to say that he had donated $130,000 to shut Donna and Darren up, but it would lead to a lot of trouble if this was leaked. He decided not to say it. Not much? Ha! I got it. Alex, you must be the same as this girl, donating $5. No, you poor guy, you didn't even donate $5. You just donated $1. How shameless, Donna said. Darren laughed out loud. You say I'm shameless? Alex couldn't hold back anymore as he listened to their high and mighty laughter, but he still managed to smile on his face. What did you say? You want to die? Darren said angrily. I remember the last time I watched the live stream, there was a person called Ghost Rider who boasted about giving 5 money guns, but then esteemed admirer outdid him and banned him from the chat. Alex chuckled. Alex, you ass. Darren clenched his fists in anger, but he didn't dare to hit him. usually asked for help in fights. At this moment, he could only look at Alex in anger. A moment of silence, please. Now we will invite all the students that have contributed over $100 to come up, give a speech, and have their photo taken, the host on stage said loudly. Darren cooled down a little. He was going to have his picture taken on stage, while Alex remained seated. Wasn't this proof that he was a head above Alex? No matter what a smooth talker you are, Alex, you're just a poor, penniless loser. You are way below me. As he thought of this, the corners of Darren's mouth curled up into a smile.
Thank you for listening to Crown TV. Please don't forget to subscribe, share and turn on the notification button.